Hello and welcome to Board Stupid. My name's Wayne.
And I'm Matt.
And this is our review
of Mass Effect, the board game.
Mass Effect is one of my favourite video game IPs of all time, one of my favourite sci-fi universes that has ever been created. I freaking love Mass Effect.
And saying that, it's been, let's say that immediately the designer is Mr. Eric Lang. So
also one of my favourite designers of all time. So these two things. But also, this is a giant red flag.
Alert. Threat condition 2 has been declared. Scramble readiness teams.
For me, normally, it's IP, video game IP and board games that never really went really well. And
but if you want to find out what we really think about it,
subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and stay with us on this journey to the space. And let's talk about Mass Effect, the board game.
All aboard the Normandy SR2.
Rolling dice, feeling nice, cardboard dreams and game schemes. Click subscribe, it's a vibe. Board Stupid's all we need. Board Stupid, game reviews for you and me. Board Stupid, here's what you should play and see.
Mass Effect, the board game Priority Hagalaz, is a 1 to 4 player cooperative adventure game set in the Mass Effect universe, designed by Eric Lang and Calvin Wong Loon, and published by Modiphius Games. In Mass Effect, you're going to be using a shared dice pool, which all of the players will use, and there will always be 4 characters, to activate the various actions on your player sheet. Firstly, the lead character will roll all of these dice, and then pick 3 of them in order to activate the actions on their sheet, such as moving, for example, moving the character around the map, or potentially doing a mission action like hacking this terminal, or even reviving one of your fellow player characters if they've fallen to one of the enemies. And of course, you can shoot, do some attacking, or activate one of the many powers on each of the individual player sheets, all of them unique. Once you've chosen your 3 dice, you must activate your hazard card. This is your crisis card, like you might recognize from games like Pandemic, and the number of bad things will typically happen. This is the enemy activation deck, and this is the mechanism by which the enemies will move around the map, getting closer to you and shooting you, or the turrets will shoot you, or various other effects depending on the mission of the game. Once you've resolved your crisis card, the next player, in turn order, will have the remaining pool of dice to pick their 3 dice from and activate their character sheet. This will go around until the end of the round. During the mission, you may get the chance to level up if you get a certain amount of experience points, and doing so means you get to unlock a brand new ability on your character sheet. These are powerful skills that will give you a new tool in your toolbox to deal with the many challenges you'll face during Mass Effect. And in pure Mass Effect style, you're going to be completing the missions either in a Paragon or a Renegade way, each giving the team slightly different benefits through the rest of the campaign. Once you've completed the requirements of the scenario, that scenario is over, you're going to be reading a story snippet, and then it's on to the next mission. So Matt, into the gameplay of the game, as we've already briefly discussed, this is a cooperative game in a kind of dungeon crawler light style.
It is. So let me start saying that we played an entire campaign, and again, the things that makes this game really appealing is this fact that a campaign will be a 5 mission, up to 5
maximum.
mission short or long or whatever you want to say. So when we spoke the first times with Eric Lang, with Mr. Eric, as I like to call him, or Mr. Lang, he told us that he wanted to do a game where you're not having to commit 300 hours of your life, but still having a story-driven campaign.
Yes.
And that was his challenge. And I think under that point of view, they nailed it.
I think they really did, actually. Yeah, it's a short campaign.
Yeah.
You can knock it out in a day.
Like us.
Like us.
We had a very long sit down. And,
yes, I don't think I'd recommend doing that for reasons we will explain. But you 100% can, and it is Each mission is fully enclosed, so you can do mission by mission and just start when you want to start and end when you want to end.
And again, the replayability of the game comes from that you will choose a mission to start up to 3, and then you will have to choose between each mission will take you on a separate path and to decide between another 2 missions until the finale. So you got this mission and mix it up with what they're called the loyalty mission. So if you know the franchise, if you know the character in Mass Effect, you got them all here. All the ones that you love, from Rex to Tali, and of course Shepard, that you can have both the male and female version
of Shepard.
I really like
which
that.
Is amazing.
Good job, guys.
You've got Garrus and you've got Liara, and but they did miss out Jacob, because everybody loves Jacob.
Anyway, you're gonna have this side quest where you can level up a couple of these characters during the campaign. That means that every time you're gonna start again, you can choose a different starting point, a different route, a different characters that you can play. Because of course there are 5 characters that you can choose from, so you can bring 4, leaving 1 out, and the next one you can have the 1 out to come in. But there is a high replayability.
Yeah, and within each mission you can do it as you might expect, being in the Mass Effect universe in a Paragon way, or in the Renegade way.
And that I find it like so good that these things, they're just so thematically good.
It's great, and if you do it in the Paragon way, then you get Paragon rewards, which come in the form of these extra dice, which we will cover very soon. Although, if you do it in the Renegade way, you'll get Renegade tokens. And again, we'll cover those very soon.
But again, what the guys at Modiphius and Mr. Lang wanted to do, it was trying to bring the feeling that made Mass Effect IP, the video game, such like a iconic IP back onto the board. That means that every decision that you make is gonna have consequences and will tell a different story depending on where you want to go. Again, this is not a video game, this is a board game, so the choices you can make are more limited. However, I think from that aspect they managed to make a syrup out of it, and in a very good way.
Capture the essence of what it is, as opposed to trying to replicate it entirely, which if they tried to do, I think they'd be onto a losing prospect, right? So they've just sort of captured the essence of what Mass Effect is and tried to distill that down and done a pretty good job of it.
Absolutely.
There is a narrative book that comes with the game, so as you're going through the different missions, you're going to be reading different excerpts from the narrative, and you're going to be playing within this map book, which is great as well, with each of the different scenarios having a different rule set, different enemy setup, and all of that great stuff. So,
and that is really good. It's something like very much like Jaw of the Lion style, where you got a very easy setup. On one side of the page, you got a map on the other side of the page. You play directly on the book, and then using your character sheet to mark up what things you do, and doing the dice allocation as we saw on the rules. And that's very much it. It makes the setup of the game really quick,
pretty
and
snappy,
easy. Overall, it's a really good Mass Effect feeling of the game.
Yeah, it plays really well, and I really like this shared dice pool, Matt, where you have a ever decreasing set of dice, right?
Absolutely. That is the dice one is what makes what separate this game from a lot of other competitors. Is something that is different. It's not been nothing really similar has been done before in a dungeon crawler adventure game. So I was super surprised with the first time that we saw it, and we had the interviews with the guys in Modiphius and Eric Lang. But this what is separate this game from others. Now I'm not saying that this is better than others. I'm just saying that it's a different take on the same genre of games.
Absolutely. And what I really like about this is it gives you a couple of really interesting decisions once you've got the dice rolled. What can I do with it? But also, what should I be leaving for my friends? Because your next person in turn order can lock in one of those remaining dice, right? So if you take everything that they need, it might be a problem.
Yeah,
so you've got to make sure you're having those discussions about, okay, what do you really need? I'll leave that behind and I'll take these things and see what we can do together.
And we had a lot of time during campaign, a lot of time. I was like,
no, don't take that dice. Don't take that dice. I really need that to do this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll be careful.
It makes it like the co-op mode is bring back on the table under this thing, beside the usual things that you need to do, like who's going to attack, who's going to do the side quest, who's going to take the object. But the shared dice pool, I found it that it's a very innovative way. Now, we say this is a very short campaign with just up to five missions. And normally what make a really good dungeon crawler or more RPG games, stuff like that. And the same Mass Effect game is the evolution of the characters.
Of course.
Because, of course, when you play a game like this, or a dungeon crawler in general, you're getting attached to your character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you bring them up from level 0 to be level
20,
99 and shooting fireballs from the eyes and stuff like that. Doing it in 5 missions, how is it gonna work?
Cool, they do it really well. It's quite simple. You can get a maximum of 3 experience points per mission. If you get 3 experience points, you can unlock a new ability.
Exactly.
That's it.
And it makes it, again, next time, instead of these skills, I'm gonna take the other one for this character, because maybe it's gonna work better. So there is a little bit of that exploring and trying to make the things slightly different.
Absolutely. It is a crisis management game. I do want to dig into that just very briefly. After your turn, you will be playing one of these bad cards.
Depending on which enemy you're fighting.
Exactly.
In this case, we got Cerberus and we got the Reaper.
We got the Reapers, absolutely. And it is, very, as you might imagine, something like Pandemic, other cooperative games, a crisis deck where you do your turn and then something bad happens. Typically, the enemies will activate. The card will tell you which enemies activate, whether or not they shoot you, or whether or not you need to spawn new enemies, or whether something else happens. Maybe it's the turrets that activate, or something else. And so that's this deck.
So there is not an active enemy turn. The enemies will activate, or something is going to happen every time a player finishes their turn. And I find it very interesting, again, because it's you can plan, but you need to react to what's happening. So you need to be ready for everything. Because in this deck, there is a lot of very naughty things.
There's some nasty things that can happen, And as well in this deck, we have some sort of mission fail conditions, where if you have several of these mission fail cards that come out, and which make you reset the deck, you'll mark that on the mission, and if that happens several times, the mission fails. So it's your timer.
It's the timer, it's the timer added to this. Okay, do you want to have a look at the production? Because I think a lot of people were very interested in it.
All right, so Matt, let's talk about the production of this game.
Production, course, is pretty good.
Everything is dry white.
Yes, it is. Everything, you can do whatever you want, write it everywhere, and just
wipe it off.
Wipe it. Now, the only thing is, there is this very cool
Mass Effect
pen, but there's no eraser.
No eraser.
So you will have to use your fingers, your saliva, some tissue. It comes up everywhere very easily, but unfortunately it's not in the box, and that's what made me a little bit sad.
That was a bit annoying.
I want a Mass Effect eraser.
Come on, bro. Like that one with like a renegade symbol. I'm rubbing that.
But that is that's one of the only downs of the game. Literally, like there are, so as we said, the board, the book, the maps, the
pieces, the minis. Great.
It's so really good. For the enemies and everything, you got these tokens that for me slightly too thin cardboard. So I would have preferred like a chip or something like that.
Poker chips would have been amazing.
Especially because
you pull them out of a bag.
All the enemies goes inside the bag. and when they need to activate, you pull them out and you find out who spawns. I would have preferred a little bit of more tactile version. Not that this is bad, it's just like it keeps the cost way lower.
Yes.
So this is definitely a good thing. So it would have been my
I
preference.
100% agree with you. Publishers, why don't you provide just coin capsules with your tokens?
Coin capsule.
They're not expensive. Surely games like this.
Yeah.
And I'm not pointing at Mass Effect, but any game with tokens.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
like, provide like 50 coin capsules in the box, and then we can make them feel really nice. And
I know that on Modiphius website and you can already find a miniature set for the entire game. So the game comes from the miniature for only the main characters.
you can see just here.
Besides chapters, that it's got 2 miniatures. It's got the male and the female option, but they are bringing out expansions pack where you can find the minis for the single enemies as well. That if you're really into Mass Effect, the minis looks amazing, as Modiphius had done some very good job so far.
They do good
not just
minis
Mass
anyway.
Effect. Yeah,
Modiphius
exactly.
do pretty great minis, to be fair. Yeah.
So that's a really good option. And the dice are amazing.
Love custom dice.
The custom dice are really good, and they're a joy
Yes.
to
Shocking.
roll. No, it's production wise. I can't say anything bad, to be honest. Besides,
A couple of elements, just a couple of things. Give us an
just
eraser.
the eraser, please.
Matt, I think it's obvious, right? This is a game for Mass Effect fans. And it's not like they just slapped the theme on a crap game. It's a solid game, and they
It's
put
a real solid game.
and it's a great theme. So if you love Mass Effect, I think it's obvious. Like this has got to be something that you might be interested in.
Yeah.
But Matt,
It's not only for if you're a Mass Effect fan. That's
Correct.
definitely adds up to as you said, a very solid game, a very solid action dungeon crawler.
yeah,
More on the lighter side. So this would definitely be something that if you're thinking about getting into the genre of dungeon crawler, adventure slash campaign game, this is gonna give you a feel of what a way heavier game is gonna feel like.
Yes.
Without the commitment of either a lot of hours to spend around the table, or the commitment of a game that was gonna cost you probably £100-200.
yeah, or tons and tons of admin.
And
So-
yeah, exactly. And again, keeping it on the lighter side in terms of like the RPG sides of a dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
This got the elements where you're gonna level up your character, whatever, but it's not gonna be that heavier in the, oh my god, what was my character shit? What do I need to do? How many gold do I have? No, this
Yeah,
is
it's
way
not that.
more. This is way more streamlined.
No
So,
spending, anything like that. So
I would say, yeah, if you are thinking about, I want to get into dungeon crawlers or adventure games and never done a campaign game before, instead of buying a game that you need to commit for 100 hours, have a look at this one, because it's a
might
very
be
solid game
interesting
with
for you.
some
Yeah.
very interesting mechanics.
Absolutely. I think the only thing that's missing from the Mass Effect feel for me is things like equipment loadouts, which we don't have in this and was very much present in the Mass Effect series.
Yeah.
I understand why it's not here for the sake of making it leaner.
Leaner game,
Right,
yes.
making a leaner game, a slightly more slimlined, streamlined game. But that for me would have been cool, having different loadouts, different weapons, maybe having some sort of bonus to your dice. I don't know. But I appreciate in the efforts of keeping it lean and mean that's not in.
Yeah, there is a kind of like that into the skills that you can
The skills, yeah,
that you
but-
can choose, but
I
yeah.
want weapons and skills. I want it all. I want it all. What can I say? In terms of the rules complexity, Matt, despite you saying it on the lighter side for things like dungeon crawlers, this is probably still erring towards an expert level game. Not an expert, an advanced.
An advanced,
not
yeah,
expert,
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
advanced
yeah.
game. This is above the intermediate, just because there is some. Well, I say some. There's quite a few. Rules interactions you need to be aware of.
Yeah, the rule book, you will have to go back and reference the rule book a few times.
A few times.
But yes, I would say to me it's an intermediate slash advanced, but you know, I play a lot of dungeon crawlers or something like this. To me personally, is way on the lighter side.
Yeah.
But again, in a general concept, yes, you are right.
This is more towards the advanced, an advanced game in our wider board game categorization. And on the note of the rules, I think this game is in desperate need of an index. That's something that I think we thought about a few times. Like, it has the contents in there, but what I really wanted was to flip to the back and be like, look for the term, and then have it on these pages.
We spent a few times just trying to find the right page, so an index. But again, we got this is a preview copies that the guys at Modiphius sent us. So maybe it's not the final, but we need to tell you guys what we experienced with the copy that we got. Again, it's nothing bad, because again, not being the rule book is not 100 pages, but still a few times we'll have
enough rules interactions there that you will need to flick back and forth. And
exactly,
100%.
Exactly. But yeah, anything you want to add? As a Mass Effect fan?
I love Mass Effect. That's what I'm adding. Let's go to the final thoughts. Okay, Matt, give us your final thoughts. Let's sum up your feelings and anything else you want to mention about Mass Effect, the board game.
I have to say that I really enjoy the game. Being a big dungeon crawler fan, this was definitely a different take, a fresh take on the genre, and having these very short campaigns that you can replay multiple times. It definitely helped this game to come on the table, and we spent an entire day just playing this game. And apart from a few sticky things with the rules, just comprehending the rules at the start and the flow of the game, would you agree that was it's pretty good once you get into it?
Well, once you get a vibe of
rolling.
It just keeps. It's really smooth. You roll your dice. You pick the 3 things that you want. There's only ever 3 dice that you take. And then you activate your character and you do those things. The planning is great. It's very natural. You deal with this. Maybe Shepard will go hack the terminal. Maybe Talia will go turn off this turret. It has a really nice natural kind of thing. There's lots of things to go and do. Maybe Rex will go pick up the loot. So there's lots of really nice options. But it flows really nicely. You're not spending hours and agonizing over your plan, or minutes.
And again, each mission, and it comes with good and bad. Each mission is around 40, 45, an hour
maximum.
An hour max. That means that sometimes some of the mission will look similar to others in terms of what you're doing, what it looks like. But again, this is a campaign that you can do in a couple of days, put the game back on the shelf and take it out in after a few weeks and play it again and having a completely different and still having a lot of fun. So this is why this to me is set down as a really, really good game. I think the guy made it, and video games and board games to me is always a massive red flag. And these games, they pull it off.
They pulled it off, fair enough. I think for me, there's a couple of things that I think are missing for me to make it the full Mass Effect experience, including specifically weapon loadouts. And if you are of that type of the fandom, we don't normally speak to them, but those that are obsessed with the romance, don't expect any of that.
No, there's nothing like that.
None of that RPG style, none of the romancing in here. No romancing there. It's not involved in that.
It's an action game.
It's an action game. You've dropped onto a planet and you're going to do the mission. The narrative side of it, so there is a narrative book where the game will be asking you to read certain passages. That's pretty good.
Very short,
really short,
very snappy. There's nothing like reading.
You're not reading for paragraphs at a time. Pretty snappy, often giving you a choice. And that will tell you typically what mission you get next. And if you completed the last mission a certain way, it will give you a certain reward. Those sorts of things as well. And that's written quite well. Other than that, I think the game flows, as you say, very well. I think the rules are quite sticky. But once you do comprehend them, the game flow is good.
I think it's because they got those couple of different mechanics.
The interactions and how that works is a bit. Or maybe it's how it's written, or maybe it's the lack of an index. There's something in there that I feel is sticky for me. But once you get over that hump, the gameplay flow is pretty excellent. I like the game, and I think it actually works best in short stints. I don't think this should be played in a 3 or 4 hour experience. It was fine, we did it, and it was good. But I remember playing, and we got it started, I was like, this is a good game, I'm really enjoying it. And at the last mission, I was like, man, we should have stopped 2 missions ago. and then come back to this the next day.
Yeah. How did you, as a you know that you are a big Mass Effect fans. How did you feel the Renegade and the Paragon difference between the missions?
Yes, that's cool. And here's what I like about that is the rewards. So, finished missions in a Paragon way, you get Paragon dice, which give you more options. You've got more potential.
Yeah, bigger dice pool. Yeah,
exactly, giving you the breadth of sort of tactics that you can implement. If you finish in a Renegade way, you get Renegade tokens, which you can spend to change the dice values. So that's about control.
Yeah.
Which makes way more sense thematically than you initially think. I think it's a fantastic thing. And it works pretty well.
And on top of that, will change eventually the finale that you're going to have, of course, because you go in a Paragon way, you're going to have one story. Yeah,
and while set in the Mass Effect universe, it's specifically set during Mass Effect 3, so you're going to be building up your war readiness, and I like that, because the higher your war readiness, the better outcome of the story that you're going to get. And that's also very nice thematic integration there as well. Getting war readiness for how well you do the missions and if you do side quests, etc., etc.
So,
not bad.
Going back to our general thought about the game.
Yes.
You being the Mass Effect nerd, would you recommend this game?
Yes, I would recommend this game if you are a Mass Effect fan. My recommendation wavers slightly more if you're not interested in the series. I think the game is fine, perfectly sound, enjoyable. But the Mass Effect skin is what makes this game more fun for me. Okay. If you just put this down in front of me and said this is nothing to do with Mass Effect, I think it would have been fine. But I think recommendation for Mass Effect fans.
Okay, that makes sense.
How about you, Matt?
I would say that being a lover of the genre of the game, I really like the again the different twists that they got on the genre. The fact that you got this very short campaign, the fact that you got this the dice allocation from the pool, it makes it way different from other stuff. I felt it a little bit lighter on the weight. I feel a lighter game in respect of something even like a Jaw of the Lion. Jaw of the Lion is significantly heavier, a little bit more complicated than this. This is something that if someone asks me, even if they don't know about Mass Effect, if someone asks me, Matt, which one do you recommend me to go into a dungeon crawler or an adventure game, I will definitely tell you guys, go with Mass Effect. That is a very nice, solid game with a solid mechanics. They're gonna give you a feel of the campaign, and
but without a massive commitment.
Without a massive commitment. So that's why I will recommend as well. That means that Mass Effect the board games get our recommendation
in the advanced category. That was our review of Mass Effect the board game. Matt,
what a game!
What a fun game!
Yeah,
and what do you think? Are you excited about Mass Effect, the board game? Will you be picking up a copy as soon as it comes out? And I think by the time this review comes out, it may be out very soon.
It's already up on pre-order on the Modiphius website and a lot of other the usual names that you'll
normally find your game from.
So go have a look. The price point I think is really good for something like that. It's way lower than most of the dungeon crawl that you can find out on the market. And apart from that, it's a really solid game.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments below. If you were to have a Mass Effect game and you're a Mass Effect fan like me, what things would you expect in there? And does our explanation of this game give you that kind of feel at all? What might be missing? What do you like about this game? Or what do you like about the sound of it? Let us know in the comments below. And also all of the rest of the things you need to do, such as check out the rest of our content.
And hit the subscribe button, come on.
Hit it, let's go into hyperspace. Hit the Mass Effect, the Mass Relay. Let's hit the Mass Relay. Let's hit the Mass Relay and shoot into another part of the galaxy. And we're going to catch you again real soon. Ciao!
Here's what you should play and see.